Hello guys, today we're going to talk about Creepshow 2, a movie that I think I wouldn't talk about, but out of curiosity and availability I decided to check this movie out, and I figured it's a horror movie so I'll like it either way, usually, and it surprised me, and I thought I would talk about it. Now granted, usually on this show format, I usually watch if I'm going to cover a franchise, I usually cover every single movie in one video. But considering I don't really feel like watching Creepshow 3 anytime soon, and I already reviewed Creepshow, and Tales from the Dark Side and the Tales from the Dark Side movie are linked to Creepshow, so I just figured I'll just do this focus on 2. A little bit about it. It was made and released in 1987, quite a few years after the first one. It's rated R. Hour 32 minutes long, pretty short. It was released on DVD in 2001. It has a 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb with 17,000 user votes. It has 39 on Metacritic with 11 Metacritics. It stars. There's a few segments, so there's lots of different actors, but one of the most notable ones is George Kennedy. He won an award for, I think he won or was nominated for an award for Best Supporting Actor on Cool Hand Luke. And then Lois Cole, I hope I pronounced it right. It's like Choles, Close. And she was in Moonraker, a James Bond film. It was directed by Michael Gornick, who has directed some episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, but he's not really known as a director. He's more of he works in choreography, and he worked a lot with George A. Romero, which makes sense because George A. Romero and Stephen King are kind of involved in the project, but to a slightly lesser degree than the first one. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 33% by critics with about 21 critics, and 40% by users with 600 users. It doesn't have a critics consensus on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's available to stream though on Screambox if you have it, or if you want to get one. There's a movie right there. It's available to rent and buy on Vudu, Fandango, iTunes, Microsoft Store, and PlayStation Store. Now, this DVD is around, but you might have to dig a little bit. I found this at a FYE, music and video store, which you can find at malls, several malls in Michigan like Saginaw and whatnot. It's not super hard to find. You're not gonna. I haven't really seen it in a Walmart or a Myers or anything, but it's around. You may have to dig a little bit. The movie itself, well, it's a different format. And the thing is that the Creepshow was based on tribute to the EC comics. And that reminds me, I gotta do a Tales from the Crypt review, because I did finish the show. I'll do that after my next one. I'll do that soon. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, well, it's so weird because the format in this is interesting. They changed it. In the original Creepshow, the format was a little more simpler. It just scary stories told throughout with not really much of an overarching story in between the stories. Not much. This one does. And not only that, it's animated. And it's animated very weirdly cool. It has weirdly cool animation. This one actually has a host. They call him, he's called the Creep. Very similar to the Crypt Keeper. But here's the thing, this movie came out before Tales from the Crypt aired. A couple years prior. So this is obviously a copy of the Crypt Keeper from the EC comics. Just a different name. Now, it's pretty cool, but in all honesty, I wouldn't mind some more stories in this. 3 stories, about 20 or so minutes each. It feels very episodic. So all the stories are good. I say the stories, personally, I find the stories get better overall as it goes. The first one, solid, maybe it felt a touch rushed, but not terribly. Of course, this is just my opinion. You may feel differently. I like the second one. Not completely original, but original enough. The third one is the best one. And the overarching story is pretty cool. Could be funny. The special effects, all practical effects, I love it. Music's good. I like the music. The only really fault of the show is that it definitely feels... I hate saying it feels cheap, but it definitely feels like they were working with a specific budget. And you could tell that... if you watch the first one and this one, you can tell that even though Romero and Stephen King were kind of involved, you can tell that they weren't as involved. And not as many stars in this one. And of course, Tales from the Dark Side, which spinned off from Creepshow. George R. Romero still producing and Stephen King writing a couple episodes in that series. You can tell that had to play too. Now, this was released in 87. I think Tales from the Dark Side ended in 88. So this came out almost at the end of Tales from the Dark Side. Pretty close. And then Tales from the Crypt came out in 89. So it was kind of a steady stream of horror anthology for quite a long time. And even when... I'll talk about more horror anthologies in a different time, but basically, if you loved Creepshow, you'll like Creepshow too. That's pretty much the attitude. If you like horror, you'll like this. You'll like Creepshow too. Not much else to say about it. There's not really a lot of well-known actors in it. But I do like it. I did not expect I would like it, but I did. It's pretty good. Now, there is a Creepshow 3, but I haven't heard very good things about it. Like, at all. And, in all honesty, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably not gonna do a video of it anytime soon. I'm more likely to do more of a trashing of it if I do watch it, from what I've heard. But I've been wrong before. But the movie, the Tales from the Dark Side movie, which came out, I think, I forgot when it came out, late 80s, early 90s, I think during or the end of Tales from the Dark Side, probably more towards the end of that show. And a lot of people, even some people who helped make the movie, consider it a Creepshow 3. So if you're not going to watch any of the Creepshow Tales shows, probably Creepshow 3, because Creepshow 3 was made in 2006, which is like, even if you throw in the Tales from the Dark Side movie, that's like 10 to 15 years after it all. It's just, that's so weird. It really is. But yeah, as the movie itself, I enjoy it. I really did. I thought it was good. I thought the stories were good. Now, granted, I think the first one was better. Because here's the thing. It's so weird. The comic book element... They used the comic-y book elements in this movie different than in the first one. And if you watch both of them, you know what I'm talking about. Like, in the first one, they took, like, all the colorfulness of comic books, all the colorful lighting, and they literally made it live action. There's some animation in the film, but it's more for the introduction and the outro. It's not really used throughout the show, the movie at all. This one is different. They don't use those comic-y, colorful outbursts in this one, but the in-between stuff, it's all animation. And they're both good in their own right. I think what really harmed this movie really is just budget. And you can kind of tell, but it's a fun ride. I give it that. I find it a very good late 80s horror movie. Probably one of the better ones in my opinion. And I've seen a lot of horror movies, and I can tell you that this is not the worst. And is there better? Sure, but it's good. I recommend this movie. There's not much more I can say about it, but yeah, for Creepshow 2, good movie. Wait, what's this? New York Daily News quotes it as scary as anything you're apt to see. APT? What the fuck? What you're apt to see? I mean, I get what they mean by it, but it's like, that's such a weird thing right there. I'm sorry, I just noticed it. Yeah, that's just weird. That's so weird. I don't know why, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos. And keep yeah. And I appreciate the lot of support I've been getting. I've been releasing a lot more videos lately, and I'm hoping everyone's loving them. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.